you doing up here?
My dear Scary Godmother! Gentle viewers, let's hear it for Scary Godmother! Ah! My signature shirt is gone! I'm naked!
Do you remember when Cartoon Network used to air those odd holiday specials? Well, I do, and it was one of the best times of the year. Today we're looking over 2 Halloween specials that I remembered fondly. Let's take a look at the Scary Godmother duology. Greenlog, Entry 3. Scary Godmother was a children's book series from the early 2000s, created by Jill Thompson. Sometime later, she teamed up with animation company Mainframe Entertainment to adapt her books into 2 TV movies. Mainframe was the same company that produced 1994's Reboot, the first fully computer-generated television series. But how do their sweet offerings hold up? Let's find out by dissecting the first movie. The movie begins with a sweeping establishing shot. We meet our 5 principal kids: Black Panther, Nintendo Labo, Diabetes, Lucifer, and Hannah. Hannah's the main character because she's the only one with mottled eyes. They acquaint themselves in a cemetery. Jimbo and Hannah aren't exactly the most friendly of cousins. He thinks she's the most easily scared girl ever, so he convenes with the other 3 kids on his plan, frightening Hannah to the point she's forced to go home, and with her absence, they receive more candy. All 4 kids take Miley Cyrus inside a haunted house. They scare the living Jesus out of her and lock her in. She breaks down, and a scary odd parent comes to her aid.
Hannah Marie! Say hello to your Scary Godmother!
The Scary Godmother gives Hannah a ride on her broomstick, and they dash straight to the monster realm. They enter the Fright Side, a pocket dimension that's never fully explained. Inside the Godmother's house, we meet a skeleton in the closet, a wolf in literal sheep's clothing, a Monsters Inc. reject, and the Addams' other family. Hannah Montana gets acquainted with the monsters. She does a pretty dope dance number, and develops a crush on this dude. While she's partying, Lucifer and the gang celebrate their success. It dawns on them that Jimbo is Hannah's guardian, and if they don't bring her home, they're in big trouble. So being the geniuses that they are, they waste time by playing the worst game of rock, paper, scissors imaginable.
Ready? Go! Ha! Rock beats scissors, scissors, scissors!
Back in the Fright Side, Montana and crew order pizza. She nonchalantly brings up the fact that her human friends left her for dead 40 minutes ago.
Hannah, where is Jimmy now?
Waiting for me, I guess.
I think it's time we taught those big kids a lesson.
She and the monsters hatch a prank to get back at Jimbo and company. Around that same time, Jimbo and friends finally decide to bring his cousin out of the haunted house. When they head in, they're spooked for life.
Click, click.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight.
At the last minute, Hannah swoops in and saves them. She leads the kids to safety. After that, she thanks the monsters for their help. The Godmother gives her a trans-dimensional key to the monster realm, and Hannah leaves with a smile. So for a first movie, it's definitely a product of its time. The aesthetics haven't aged well. It feels like an alpha build for an FMV game they never finished. The art style looks weirdly out of place in a 3D environment. The character models are a mixed bag. Hannah and the monsters look fine, but what do they do with the other human models? And what's with their eyes? The lighting looks a bit uneven at points. Like, look at the ambience on their faces. I don't think this was intentional. This movie is quite shallow. Hannah is the only one with any semblance of an arc. You know, from being spooked by monsters to eventually befriending them. But what makes up for this shortcoming is the film's relaxing charm. Have you ever been to a small rock concert? You know, the kind of concert that draws in 50 people at some dilapidated part of town. You're friends with the band that's performing, and you know they're total amateurs, yet they radiate so much passion. The town theater in question is filled with some random stoners, but you enjoy it anyway because the atmosphere is chill, and everyone is on board with the awkward community fun. Well, that's what both films invoke in me. Despite the bare bones plot, the film makes up for it with its small, cheesy community charm. The team behind this movie definitely treated it like a passion project. It even made me chuckle at points. My favorite aspect was Harry, the fanboy wolf, and its interactions with the other monsters. Big ego, but totally clueless. He is the Tommy Wiseau of holiday specials.
The light burns! It burns worse than the worst burn ever! No, all right. I die. I flail. Then I die.
And you can't beat a dope dance montage. But it doesn't compare to The Beast, that is the sequel. The second movie is a massive improvement over its predecessor. Okay, quick synopsis. Jimbo is suffering PTSD from last year's prank. Black Panther, Nintendo Labo, and Diabetes bluff him off as paranoid and leave him alone. He concocts revenge on the monsters by ruining the Halloween spirit of his friends. While that happens, Hannah visits the fright side with that interdimensional key from the last movie. The monsters serve up tasty exposition. As they prepare for October 31st, Scary Godmother tells Hannah that the spirit of Halloween is in everyone. Basically, if everyone, and by everyone I mean just Hannah and these 3 kids, lose faith in Halloween, then the fabric of reality breaks down the fright side.
Welcome to episode 80 of an ongoing series where we basically take the camera anywhere we want and we try to find secrets and new discoveries to some of our favorite games.
So Jimbo plans on thwarting the spooky spirit by kicking some pumpkins, vandalizing the candy aisle, and TPing the haunted house from the first movie. Where are his parents?
Jimmy, what did I tell you about making faces? Stop it or your face will freeze like that!
Man, he really needs some help. Anyway, Hannah and the gang are able to overcome each of Jimbo's roadblocks. On the night of the Fright Side party, Hannah invites Black Panther, Nintendo Labo, and Diabetes to visit the spooky world. She uses her trans-dimensional key to open a wormhole, and these kids treat it like no big deal. Unfortunately, Lucifer stealthily follows them. The big kids greet the monsters under the impression they're wearing elaborate costumes. Mingling and another dance number ensue. Jimbo almost steals the grand prize, but he wins it anyway because the monsters adore his devil costume.
Hey everybody! I think we've got a winner here for best costume!
Hey, I did scare the scariest monster around, didn't I? Yeah.
His PTSD is immediately cured, everyone's happy, Harry gets booted off the program. Also, Harry is the editor and narrator of this movie. I kinda left that out because it's not really important. So he's like a PBS host, but gets immediately booted for trying to sell his merch.
I also accept gift certificates, gift baskets, comic books, DVDs, CDs, beta!
End movie. Scary Godmother, Revenge of Jimmy is a big improvement over its predecessor, and it's wicked fun. For starters, it looks better. Models, lighting, and texturing are more refined. It no longer looks like a 90s FMV game. The editing, both visual and audio, get a boost too. The writing is slightly better, it's faster paced, and it's not afraid to take the wacky route.
Ah! My signature shirt is gone!
It continues that small community tone from the last movie. It doesn't feel like a corporate project, but a small team's cheesy time capsule for all to see. Now, it isn't much deeper, the mechanics of the Halloween spirit are never fully explained, and Jimmy's psychological damage is never fully explored. In fact, the most interesting part of the movie is Jimbo's descent to madness. I mean, in the last movie, Purple Soul used to scare him every Thursday.
But Jimmy said...
Jimmy? Wait a minute. Then it's the same Jimmy that's on my route. I scare him silly every other Thursday.
I mean, if I were in Jimmy's shoes, I'd do whatever it takes to get back at the monsters. Jimbo is so bloodthirsty for his revenge, he destroys the entire pumpkin supply. But no, getting awarded with candy by the very monsters you loathe makes it alright. Jimbo instantly forgives everyone, including the purple guy who tortured him for months. But who cares? Diabetes is the true spirit of Halloween. Don't get me wrong, neither movie is actually good. But for silly Halloween movies, they're great fun for when you want to turn off your brain. With movie 2 out of the way, let's go to the verdict. First, the highlights and then the final verdict.
Firstly, pun galore.
These movies pack more puns than you can imagine.
Secondly, PTSD villain.
Jimbo's psychological damage is the most interesting aspect of movie 2. His slow descent to madness has amazing build-up, but the payoff is so lame. The moment he wins a pumpkin, he's instantly cleared of trauma.
Lastly, for the series as a whole, cheesy Halloween fun.
These movies are the epitome of a small community production. You know it's awkward, not all that good, and even nonsensical at points. But it has passion, and you can't stop but smile at the effort. Let me reiterate, both movies are the equivalent of a small town production. It's not high art, but it's still a good romp. If you're doing a nostalgic spooky marathon, they're good cheesy fun. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this spooky edition of Evergreen Television.
Stay tuned for the next episode, where we get ourselves tangled up 8 years later. No producers were harmed in the making of this video.